Hello, my peeps. So I'm going old school with the camera technology. That's what I'm laughing about. Um, I'm a couple minutes early because I was playing and trying to figure out how things worked. Um, I'll try to remember to introduce myself, but I'll do it at 7. I told you that I couldn't figure out this like little circle here in the I don't know wherever it is. Me in the little circle. Um, it was so far back, and so I spent a bit of time trying to figure out um, how to get um, my camera to zoom. It's fun to Google things now asking about zoom, like zooming in on things, because zoom has become such a big thing that you get lots of answers about that kind of zoom. What did I just end up with? Why do I have all these weird news stories? I don't have my comments, but I have like an entire thing of weird, like National Enquirer type news stories showing up. Oh, now I got stats. Okay, anyhow. um, so yeah, I never did figure out if I could zoom in on this camera, and if so, how. But I did, but exactly what I told you would do. I went old school, and I just pulled my computer as far forward as I could. And then it wasn't quite what I was like. I still would like this to be more, but I have a feeling that the camera's going to be sitting right here, and that will, oh my goodness, that will distract me. But yeah, so I pulled the computer as far forward as I can, and I could show you this awesome new pencil holder that I found at our local Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree in Mornville is awesome, but I can't because it is currently actually holding up the front of my laptop so it does not fall off the shelf that it normally sits on, because I have pulled it that far forward. Because before I was like this tiny little head like this, but now, whoo, hello. So, anyways, now if I could just figure out why I got weird news stories and not comments, that'd be awesome. So I was trying something new this time. Because yeah, why not try something new? Because that's a great idea. I always go into YouTube first and open up my live so that I'm there on the right screen. But when I start Zoom, it opens up a second window for YouTube, and it takes forever. So I thought today maybe the reason that the Zoom YouTube screen takes forever is because I've got another one open. So today I decided I'm just going to close mine and I'm going to open the other one and see if that works. No, it did not. So now, as I ramble, I am trying to, in the background, open up the other one. So just to see if I can get my the comments to show up. So, and let's hope somebody's commented, because after all this work, I really hope somebody's commented. That's this one. Okay, so it's still working. And in the meantime, I have lost my actual image so that I know what you can see on the TV. Okay, here's the good news though. I'm getting very good at turning the speakers off on my laptop before I start. So I'm not getting interference from that. I did that like 15 minutes before I even started. Okay, speaking of started, let's start. So, hi everybody. Tracey Stewart here, independent Stampin' demonstrator, the paper pusher, and I'm coming live to you on Paper Pusher TV. Oh, and I'm really trying to get the comments up. So at some point, if the comments ever show up, I'll say hi and address the comments. For right now, though, I'm getting I just keep getting like weird thing. Now I'm getting like a playlist of all the different Tuesdays with Tracey's I've done. Well, that is not what I asked for. Oh, it says live chat has been turned off. No, no, I hit the button again and went somewhere else I didn't want to go. This minute, sorry, I'm trying to see because it told me that the chat replay has been turned off, which is not what I wanted. I had it as a default to be on. Not showing. I don't think I'm going to be able to fix that though. But what I'd like is just the chat in general to show up. So could we make that happen? Seriously, I don't know why I can't make the same thing happen every single time. Okay, so I apologize if you are chatting with me because I am never going to see those comments apparently. Yeah, I can't make it do it. Sorry, I'm trying to fix it and I keep hitting the wrong button and then I can't see my screen, so I don't know if I'm moving things. Okay, in the meantime, we're just going to do other stuff. So I've decided tonight is just going to be all about show and tell. And if I have time at the end, I'm going to show you like the measurements of the one card. And the reason, well, that's provided I have time and I can find my sticky note. Because I have to end a few minutes early tonight because I have an errand to run. And of course, if there's an errand to run, my son wants to be the one who drives because he's learning to drive now. And thankfully, he drives slower than I do. So it always takes us just a bit longer to go anywhere. What did I do with the sticky that had all the measurements on it? Okay, so I'll show you this. This is from the weekend, right? Oh, there it is. I guess I wrote it right there. I thought it was on a sticky. So this weekend I had a demonstrator event. And sometimes we get instructions ahead of time, sometimes we don't. So this was my like piece of paper that was down that I was working on. And every time somebody would say something new with measurements, I would write stuff. So most of my measurements look like this. So I'll have to sort them out. This is the card we're going to make tonight. Oh, look at that. So I have to sort that out a little bit and make it better for you. I am also trying to finish up my website and then do the blog. So maybe, okay, I just made an executive decision. I'll show you the card. And then this week's goal will be to put the measurements and some pictures on the blog. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to move this out of the way for now. The one advantage to having my computer really close, boom, I got somewhere to put my stuff. Okay, so a couple little things before I start on the stuff from the weekend. Here is my February. See, my stuff's all closer now. It's freaking me out. This is the February wreath design that I made for our little wreath club that we have. And I did make the comment that I was going to take all the pictures for all 12 months. And I was going to make a little reel, which I did make one reel. So I have sort of figured out reels and show everybody. But if you are waiting for that reel, you will have to wait a month, because I realized when I went, as I was gathering up all the pictures, that we actually started in April, not in March, and that we hadn't actually done March, which is weird because in my head, I had the perfect little wreath with like shamrocks and a little leprechaun gnome, and it was so cute. But apparently I never actually made that. So stay tuned for the March one. Okay, I still not close enough to be able to reach that. Stay tuned for the March one, and then I will make the reel. But I have a lot of fun making those wreaths. The other thing I was going to show you, because I just thought this was so clever, if I do say so myself, I like to have treats at card class, right? There's a little table treat for everybody. If you've been to extravaganza or anything, you will know I like to put table treats on everything. So we had our B class. I actually called it All Things Love because it wasn't simply going to be the Valentine, but we did use the Be My Valentine suite with one addition. And I'll show you that because it plays into tonight's card. But I wanted to make, so I try to make the treat packaging sort of go with whatever we're doing, but at the same time, it's got to fit the treat. So in this case, I had got these cookies, which I can't eat, but according to my son, are delicious. So they're these little chocolate rock cookies, but they're in a rather big bag. So I ended up making a very quick little DSP gift bag out of some, this is the Mostly Adored or something, I think it's called. The free celebration paper that coordinates with the Adored something set that's in the mini catalog. Darn, I should have looked it up ahead of time. I don't know what made me think I was actually going to know what I was. This is what I see. The thing is, I don't actually like plan ahead what I was going to say. So, hey, yeah, I should make reference to where this matches. Okay. These are some very old little clips. They just happen to work. Anyways, that's not the fun part anyhow. So I had to make the bag to fit it. So then I decided I needed to decorate it with gold because it had gold on it. So you'll notice that I just punched the B out of gold. Now I do think it looks like a B. There's no face, there's no stripes, there's just a little heart, but I think it does look like a B. But it looked more like a B when I added the little antennas to it. Do you see those cute little antennas? So if you did it without, oops, I keep going the wrong direction. It's still, I still think you get the B idea. I think the stinger makes you think it's a B, right? But then I'm like, no, I need antenna. But I couldn't stamp them because everything else was punched. So if you were thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to make that work? Ta-da! Don't forget you have brads. And the funny thing is I actually thought of the antenna first and had the brads, which is what made me remember, oh, perfect. So then on the wreath, because we have white ones, I can make it so the flag actually moves. Right? So I actually thought of the B before I thought of that. This would have hopefully made me think of it too. But so anyways, yeah, so there's very big ones in here and there's very little ones in here, and they're black and white. And these are in the catalog. So if you have extras or you're wondering what to do with them, or you're thinking, darn it, how do I make antenna for a punched out bee? Boop, Brad's. I just love it. Anyway, I like to solve problems. There's a problem. Maybe that will help you. Okay, so again, based on, so I'm very lucky to be on Tamara's team. Tamara is one of a group of, I want to say 14, maybe 15 women who formed a group years ago to sort of help each other with their business and support each other. And 3 times a year, they invite their whole team. So we're talking hundreds between all these teams, and they do a free event. So it's online and you watch it as you go. Now, what I like to do is I like to try to keep up. Sometimes the instructions are posted ahead of time. They don't ever show us the final projects. See, I can't move that because I can see it. We don't see like the final stuff necessarily, but they'll say, here's the cardstock I used, here's the suite I used, or the product I used, so that you have an idea, okay, that's what theirs was. So even if you don't have the exact suite, you could say, well, this is similar, like that's big images and big sentiments, this is big images, this is only sentiments, this is, right? So you kind of get the feel for that. I never have time to look at those ahead of time. So I just, as soon as they start, I see what the project is. And then while they're making it, I try to make it at the same time. I don't know why. It's fun for me. It is not easy. So it's depending on the card, I guess. Well, this week we were lucky enough that we got to see some fancy folds. And I mean, I have some awesome new cards. They weren't all fancy folds, but they were mostly fancy folds. So I'm going to have so much fun, and I'm going to do a strictly fancy fold class. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show all the fancy folds. I'm going to let everybody kind of vote on which ones they want to do, figure out realistically how many we think we could do. Like I would prep all the stuff. You basically would have to make, like if we were making this card, you would have to make this design, because I would have to pre-cut all the pieces. Because the thing with these is there's lots of pieces. And that's what got me behind. I only managed to finish about half the projects. I had 2-legged interruptions. I had 4-legged interruptions. And just because the nature of some of the projects, there was more cutting involved, so that I would get a little bit behind. So I'd skip one and do the next one and skip one. And I had so much fun though. And oh my goodness, do we have projects? We have like the best projects. So, but my plan is to do a fancy fold class. But when we do it, we're all making the same projects and we're all doing them at the same time. So like we'll all have the pieces in front of us and go, okay, this is how you make. Because then once you have all the instructions and you've made one, now you can go and replicate them. But, or if you just want to have like a 4 or 5, because I'm thinking that's probably the most we could get done in 3 hours. If you just want to have a stockpile of like for the really special occasions, then you could do it. Anyways, you're wondering, how is that a fancy fold, Tracey? You're just holding it. And I also try not to use the same suite or the same bundle that the person doing it did. I like to make something different. So every time my card looks different because I use something different, which just takes me that much longer to figure out. But this one, this perennial lavender suite, I think it's called. Oh, I just love it. So anyways, this one has a belly band. And I have seen this card before. This one Elizabeth showed us how to make, but she did say it was somebody else's card. I just don't think I actually remember whose. And I've always wanted to make it, and it is awesome. Am I teasing you enough? I'm doing it on purpose. It is awesome, and it is so much simpler than I thought it would be. And I will make a bunch of these because, oh my goodness, do I love these cards. They won't all be like pretty lavender cards. This was specific to a person that I had in mind, but look at this card. Oh, you open it up and there's a gift bag in the inside, like an actual gift bag. And what's inside the gift? You're supposed to put tissue paper. I did not have tissue paper. I have tissue. So there's a chunk of Kleenex in there and a gift card. Isn't that awesome? I love it. Anyhow, and so yes, the way you fold it and the way you adhere it makes it so that when you fold it closed, I mean, it's a little thicker than normal, but when it folds flat into a card. So the person getting it isn't even going to know. It's just so exciting. So there's one of them. That's the gift card bag. Just a minute. Now that I moved everything, I kind of figure out where I'm going to put stuff. So yeah, these are not at all in the order that we did them, because these are just in the order that they're sitting on my desk. So one of the other presenters had just made a very pretty wedding card. They also offer prizes. So if you go in the challenge is to make a card based on what they did, like inspired by the same fold, the same suite, the same idea, the something. I didn't have any of the products that she had used, but she made a wedding card. So I thought, I'm going to make a wedding card. And I really wanted to use this detailed dogwood, which is one of the free celebration ones. And I thought, oh, it looks so vintagey. Okay, vintage is not my go-to style, and this card took me like 2.5 hours to make because I kept trying and moving and trying and moving. But I was going for like the sepia look. It took forever, but I do like how it turned out. So this was one of the challenges, was just to make a wedding card. Wedding card, flowery card. I'm not actually sure what I was supposed to be making, but I made this card, and I do quite like it. But like I said, did it take me some time? Maybe the next one will be easier. One of the challenges was to make either a shaker card or the original, Tamara's original card. Sorry, that was Marcy. Tamara's original card, she had, because we have those great everyday details dies that have all the fancy ones with the holes in them, you can put holes in this window screen, which would let the scent out. So she put the little like scentables in it. Oh, I'm getting messages that pop up, but I can tell that they're I think they're spam. Okay, so for some reason now, I must have hit something because for some reason I have to stretch my arms out to make this work. I don't really like scented things. So I just made a shaker card without the scented things. And yes, in my brain, when I'm like, okay, I'm looking at my sweets or my different stamp sets out of the new catalog. And I was like, okay, I need something what's got something to do with smells. And I saw rock and roll. And the first thing that popped into my head was Smells Like Teen Spirit, which I know is a song. Couldn't even tell you what song it is or who sings it. But that was the first thing that popped into my head. So I'm like, rock star it is. So in here, I've got them stuck now. There we go. There's some guitar picks and some lightning bolts and some stars. And this is it's a little bit thicker. You can kind of see. So shaker card. So that was one of the cards. That was fun. And instead of making like a big square shaker card, yeah, just a little window. And if I had some good sendable stuff, I could have put some holes and stuff. But anyways, that was lots of fun. I can make the one that's right in front of me. So this was Diane's card. And her card had like little grass and flowers and little cows, and it was adorable. And with these like different steps on it. As soon as she held her card up, though, when I saw that it was like, tuk, 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 and I had pulled out, because the best I can do to get prepared for this is I'm like, okay, whatever the next card is, I'm going to use the tools. I saw that hers had DSP and this had a great DSP with it, so I pulled it out. So I had the tools in front of me. She pulls out her card, and I saw a toolbox. Even though her card looked totally different than this, I saw a toolbox. So I made one. Now, what I did, though, was between each one of these door fronts, I put dimensionals so they would kind of stick out a bit to give it dimension. So because of that, oh, this one I put a piece in the bottom. Because of that, it doesn't totally fold flat anymore. It kind of is very squishy because it's a little bit extra thick. But it still almost does. Like, and one way it does actually fold a little bit flatter, but it is quite thick. So this would definitely require a homemade envelope. There's the back, which is upside down because it's easier for me to just flip it that way. But the other thing I realized too is if you made this like this, and so it's all open on the bottom, and this is a slightly different red. I was hoping it would show up by contrast. I think it does. So this was just a little chunk, but if I put adhesive on each one of these flaps and I popped it in here, oops, there we go. I can't get it in. Popped it in there. This would put a bottom on this thing. And then I could have like a calendar on the front. I could have sticky notes, because sticky notes are the best things. I could have some pencils. I could have an actual ruler stuck in the back. And I just thought, how cute would this be on the desk? And in various different themes. Like for somebody who's a mechanic or a carpenter, this would probably be great. I don't actually think this is a carpenter's toolbox. I think it's a mechanic's toolbox, and I hand cut out all the tools, which not everybody likes. But anyways, I had so much fun making that thing. So then this one's from Lori. And hers was to use DSP in a couple different ways. So this card, I used this is free celebration DSP. So I cut the birds out of it and I use this. And this one was in particular, this design was to use DSP as the card base. So I have a layer on the front and a layer on the inside, which gives kind of some stability to the card. But the whole actual card base is the DSP. So I wanted to make it that the big wow when you opened it up was this gorgeous paper. And the trick with DSP is getting the direction right? Because the sides are like, there's two pretty sides, but they don't always, you can't usually just flip things. So on this one, I'm like, oh, perfect. I can do it with this one because it's just leaves. They're non-directional. So if you look really close here, you see these two leaves that have beaks and wings and feet? Yep. They're not leaves. So let me see. Oh, here, I'll show you on the back where you can see better. So I didn't realize at first that this is actually paper with birds in it. So, but the funny part is, so on the back with the card sitting the right way, on the back, the paper goes the right direction. On the front, it doesn't, but most of the front is covered. So if I hadn't pointed out, you might not have noticed. And then when you open it, it's perfect. So I'm like 3 out of 4. I count that as a success. Anyways, I had a lot of fun. This is the DSP. And I bought this stamp set for this sentiment alone because I just love it. So that was one of them. Like I said, not all fun folds, but all very fun to make cards. Just when I'm knocking everything everywhere. Okay, so then this is the last one I'm going to show you. Yeah, I think we'll probably have time to do it. So part of the problem with my strategy of making these cards the way I do is, so Shauna, the lovely Shauna from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, held out her card, and I was like, oh, cute. And it was the point was DSP, and then she was calling it a wraparound. So as soon as she did it, I thought, oh my goodness, that'll be perfect for that balloon DSP, and I can make the balloon like half on one page and half on the other, like on the outside and half on the inside. Perfect. So I started gathering all the supplies. So I missed the part where she opened her card and showed how to do it. So I totally did not do this card right. I did the fold right. So this fold, instead of, this is the same size piece of paper as like a regular landscape card base, right? But instead of folding it in half, you're folding like here and here and folding it together. So I did the fold part right. And I got the DSP on there. I took a little creative license because there's supposed to be a little gap here, but with this particular pattern, I didn't want to put a gap there. I just put it the whole way. And then you open it up. And isn't it cool when it opens up? And then you have the inside. So as soon as I did this the first time, I'm like, well, this is perfect. I'll put the outside of the balloon, and then I'll put the inside of the balloon, or the bottom of the balloon, on the inside. That way it'll wrap around. Only if you do that, if you don't have an outside here, then you have part of a balloon, and when you open it up, all you have is the basket. And I was like, well, that can't be right. So then I thought, well, maybe so then I put a balloon up here. So I was just like winging it because I was following along, and she's showing us how to put all the stuff and how she decorated hers. And I'm like, okay, so I'll put the DSP and decorate. And then I'm just about finished the card when she opens her card, and I was like, oh, that's what's supposed to wrap around. So yeah, cool fold. And I mean, I like the way the card turned out, but I didn't quite do it right. So I had to fix it. Now, one of the cards, they're over there. They're not close enough for me to reach. One of the cards we made this weekend, where'd my card go? I had cut out some daisies. So here's today's PSA for you. Just because we have all these fun new toys in the new catalog, and we do have fun, and I've been having a blast playing with them all, do not forget about the gorgeous things we have in the annual catalog. Because I had been using the daisy die cuts on one of our B cards. I copied a case of card from Cindy Schuster, who's a demonstrator and also happens to work at Stampin', and it is like just a gorgeous card. So I had these daisies cut out. And so because I was thinking, man, those daisies are nice. I haven't used that often enough. And it comes with this paper, which I haven't put away yet. So like just gorgeous paper that it comes with. And so I thought, okay, I got to fix my mistake. I'm going to use the daisies. So I made the totally new card. That's just a side note, using the daisies. Because you should remember to use the pretty ones. Okay, so this is how the card was supposed to go. So it is the same fold. And this is like a totally different looking card. So, and on her, she did, like she originally, and I did it as I was watching her. I knew I was not doing what she said, because she put the DSP here, and then depending on the pattern, the strip you cut off the bottom, you flip over and you put the reverse side. Well, the reverse side of this DSP is the same kind of watercolor look, but it is the same color as the base. And I didn't want that. So I took a strip off a different color of DSP so I could have this look on the bottom. And these are those beautiful daisies that I was talking about. So this was the idea behind the card. A note of thanks that wraps around and says, for all the great things you do. Oops. And then there's another little piece, another little strip of the paper and some room to write. So this was the part that was supposed to wrap around. It's still a cool, whichever way you do it, it's still cool. So I think this card is just awesome. So I did not actually, oops, just when I gotta put this where you can see it. I didn't actually get out an extra card base to use. And the problem is I pre-score all my card bases. So here, I'll show you something else here while we're doing it. So this is my little tray that sits by my desk. It's just on the shelf underneath here. So when I'm making cards, I can just grab something and go. So I have to, because I can't see when I'm over there, I have to really quickly look and just see if by chance I have a piece that I have not. Oh, look at that. This is not the exact color. This is Cajun Craze instead of copper clay, but they are similar. Can I get away with that for this? I just need it to use it as a card base. I don't actually have to make the card. But yes, most of what's in here, I have pre-scored. Oh, you know what I just noticed? This yellow one's not pre-scored. And I will, oh yes, it is. Darn. I was gonna say, because I can't stop making cards with the bees. Okay, I'll just use this one to show you. So here is the idea of what you want to do. So you want this, so this is a half a sheet of DSP, right? Yeah, I'm everything is just like closing in on me. Move the cutting blade out of the way so we don't actually cut the piece. We just score the piece. So yes, this is a regular piece of DSP. So it's cut in half at 5.5, which is which, well, like I said, would be the normal landscape direction that we would go. But instead of scoring down the middle, we're going to score at 1.25. So if you're following along, because who knows how long it's actually going to take me to do the blog, 1.25 and 5.5. If you are patient though, this is the one I will do and I will put in my blog and I'll have some pictures of like the steps as we go. I'm going to keep that out. I'm going to do something different. Okay, so we're going to keep that one. For now, I'm just going to push that over there. And then take your DSP, whichever chunk of DSP you're going to use. Okay, I'm trying to reach. It's not working. This card does not actually take that long. What's going to take that long is me getting my act together. Those pieces are not big enough. I like to use my scraps. This is only part. I cut off a chunk off the top already, or a strip off the top, and then I cut a big chunk off the bottom already. But oh my goodness, is this not the prettiest paper? Oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to cut the top off of that one. This is the one that I want. Oh, it's got flowers. So this is the one that I want the blue strip off of. Because like I said, this one, if you flip this one over, you get the copper clay, which is lovely, just not what I want. So this other one that is a lovely green and yellow and white daisies is actually the one that has the blue on the bottom. Although that is going in the wrong direction. For what I want. So where's the piece I used? I say, I'm going to use that one for a little strip. This is not actually the right color, so it's going to look, oh, that is the right one. Oh no, that's what I ended up doing. Okay, I remember now. I was going to use the green one, but it was going the wrong direction. That's right. So all I did was cut a strip off the top. That's how come I got the same blue. Okay, now I know what I'm doing. Okay, so what we want is, move this over here, a piece of DSP that is 5.25. I'm going to cut it this way this time. 5.25. And I am using the cutting blade, but I'm doing it on purpose, so it's okay. 5.25 by 4.75. This is taking us just above where this blue is. Actually, I don't even have to cut this piece because I can cut it off. Now, we need to cut a strip for the inside, right? We need to cut a strip for the inside, And we need to cut a strip for here. For here, sorry, and for the inside. Seriously, I don't know why everything's so out of whack today. Did I bump this? There we go. Keep going off screen. Sorry about that. So normally I would say you take this one, and this is why, depending which DSP you're using. So if you are using like a floral one and you just want to put this on the top and then you want the same pattern on the bottom, then you need to cut it off the bottom of the piece. So you have to make sure the orientation is right when you do it. If you're just going to flip it over, it doesn't really matter which way, but make sure that the orientation on the back, like if the top is nicer than the bottom, like for whatever it is you're trying to hit, just make sure. But you're taking off of this one, you're going to take a 1-inch strip. Now in this case, these flowers are just too pretty down here. And up here, it's a little less. So I'm going to see what I get. Let's touch and go. Let's see if I can shimmy this up a little bit. What did I do wrong here? Okay, well, it's a good thing if you're cutting along with me, I apologize, because this is going to be way. Oh, okay. Sorry, I just realized what I did. I took that measurement because I thought I'm going to do it the way Shauna told us to. This one you need 2 3/4 and 2 1-inch strips. So she was cutting them all off the same piece of paper. Because I already have the piece I was looking for, that's what I was doing. That's what wasn't working. Okay, so in this case, I am gonna I still have to trim this. It's just I'm gonna have a piece that wasn't exactly what I intended. Okay, so I'm cutting. Okay, so sorry, I totally screwed that up. I did this perfectly when I did it myself, but then I went to her measurements because I was going to show you on a different piece of paper to begin with. But then I realized I didn't actually get the different piece of paper out. And this is the one I can reach. Okay, so normally you would take a chunk off and you would flip it over and you would put on the bottom. And like I said, pick whether you're cutting off the top or bottom based on your picture. Then you need to cut one more 1-inch strip. Okay, now the numbers totally make sense to me now. So in this case, let's pretend that I've cut the one chunk off to go here. Then the next 1-inch strip I cut off, there we go. I cut off to go here, which leaves me 2 3/4, which now makes sense. That goes here. Okay, so that's where your strips come from. And just like I said, pick the orientation you want. But because this is not actually the color that I was going for, I am going to just make one off this 1-inch strip that I have left from the previous card I made. Okay, sorry for the confusion. I will tell you, my brain is fried today. I spent the whole day just about on the phone trying to do 2 things. One of which was find a better cable plan. We pay a lot for cable and we watch so many things on streaming things. We don't hardly ever watch live TV. Like we pretty much just watch things on replay or on demand. And I thought I'm paying too much for cable that we don't use. So I wanted to see if I could cut that down. And Sean Rogers just joined, so I keep getting endless emails telling me now's the time to change. So I finally thought, nope, today's the day. I'm changing it. Oh, that just sapped my brain power. Okay, so here's a tip I'm going to show you. And this is why I wanted to make this card live, because I will write it out in the blog and I will try to show you, but it may not. Sometimes I know what I'm saying and it makes sense in my brain, but to try to write it out in a way that makes sense, I'm not sure. Okay, so we're going to fold this card. So I'm folding this small strip on the bottom first on the score lines. Now, as you know, score lines, they're a little bit thick. They're not 100% perfect. We're all human. We don't necessarily score 100% perfect. So this can make or break like how things join up and if they're exactly straight or not. But I did it on the first card I did. I folded the top. When I made this card, I folded the top, or sorry, I folded the bottom first, and then the top was like the one I used for adjustment. When I made this card, I folded down the top, and then I was left with the bottom piece to try to do this next step. And the bottom piece is just smaller, and it was just harder. So on this card, I'm going to tell you, do the bottom first, because I know from experience it works easier. you know what I'm going to do? Just a minute here. This is the inside of the card. And so as much as we made a fancy fold out of this, the inside of this card is still the same as a standard card base. So my 4 by 5.25 layer is the perfect size for inside this card. Still works. I'm going to do this just so you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. Okay, so I'm going to fold the bottom up first. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over. Now it is scored here, but I'm not pressing down on the score line yet. And I'm going to use my fingers because what I want to do is I want to make sure that I don't have a huge gap. But I also want to make sure that I don't overlap them because then you won't be able to get your card open and closed easily. So I'm doing this where there's just like the smallest little hairline where they join up, and I'm holding very tightly, and then I'm pushing down on my score line. So now I don't have a gap, and it always seems to work when I do this that it shifts a little bit this way. So they are very close, very tight. There's a little bit of a thing there, but that's fine because the way I was decorating, especially on this one, I overlapped both my flowers anyway. So you kind of have to use a little caution when you close it. But anyways, yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to fold the bottom first and then line up the bottom or like where the top goes before you score the score line of it so you can get it going. And then the rest is just putting it together and decorating it. I think that's actually going to work. Those colors are close enough. So I guess your choices for decorating are many. I'm also going to show you, I made a second label here. I had an idea. Now what I'm wondering about is, because I didn't use the right cardstock, if it's going to work. I may not be able to 100% finish. This was the other thing I noticed. If you open your card, it is so much easier to line this piece up than when it's closed. Because when it's closed, all you see is like the entire thing, and it's very hard to see where the joint is in it. It's the same thing here. Like when I do this, it was a little harder, so I went like this for the other one. Now you have options. Oh, do we have options? What you need to make this card is a nice DSP. And if you can get a DSP that has like a good B side to it, that's great. But most of our packs of DSP come with like, 6 or 12 different designs in them. So chances are you're going to find one you like. Now, if you're putting your card together this way, like you open it up like this to make it easier to see, make sure that if this has a picture on it, like if this is directional, that when you're putting this down, you're putting it down the right way, because this is going to fold this way, right? So it makes sense to me that it's like you're looking at it the right way, but don't think because you got the card open or anything to do it upside down, because it does matter, and it does need to be right side up when you do it. So I'm going to put this cutie here. Ta-da. And then on the inside, I'm going to put this one. Now, the other advantage to this card is have we got options for labels. Mine on the first card is a circle. Well, on the first card, I didn't even do it right, but it is a circle. And I used I actually think there is an up and down on this. I used the deckled circles to make it. Just I got to put my thing on and then I'll pick it back up again because it can't. I don't even know. I'm looking down. I don't even know if it's in screen. Yes, it is. So in this case, I just used a circle, and all I did was put it in my trimmer. In this particular case, I saw that the circle was 2.5 inches like across. So I just cut it at 1.25, and I just cut it on the trimmer, just right down the middle. You could use tags. What did I do with that box? I could have showed you. You can use rectangles. You can use tags. This was one of the rejects from my card that I was making. This hexagon shape would work. If you're cutting it this way, it would probably work if you were cutting it this way. We have so many. You just need a kind of a bigger one. It doesn't have to be huge, but like you just need something like this. A really small circle that you cut in half would be very tiny. And so unless you were just putting cute like little images or something on it, or a little hello that were very small, you need but we have so many good size labels that work for this. Oh yeah, I'll live on the edge. I'll just tape this down before I stamp on it, because that's how I roll. So the one thing I will show you though, that I wanted to show you, is I was trying to find a die cut to put on the first card. I decided to wait and save it for you guys. So there's my basic card, right? And ta-da! That's how it goes together. So now you decorate. So one of my thoughts was we have these timeless arrangements, I'm pretty sure is what the dies are called. And they're meant to go behind labels. So my thought was, if you cut the label the right way, and I don't know if I could make it work because this label goes the other way, but they're meant to kind of tuck behind, right? And then there's these extra little pieces you can add in. So, but my thought was, how perfect is this to not cover up very much of the DSP? Sorry, this is not how this is meant to go together, so it's very hard to do. There we go. And put like your little half like this with these little timeless arrangements. And there's, I think, 3 different kind of flowers and leaves that go on them. And with all these different DSP and then with your labels, oh, they would be perfect. I don't think it will work in this case. So in this case, my label needs to go this way. And you're looking at it and you're saying, Tracey, look at all the unused space in the middle. By the way, your labels could also be white. My original label was going to be this, white circle. But then when I decided it was too much white against the white daisies, so I went with the boho. But your labels can be white. They don't have to be like cardstock color. But here's the thing. This is the countryside corners, and I needed to use this side because I needed this wide sentiment, which comes out of one of the masculine sets with the animals in it. Wildlife Wonder. I needed it to be wide enough for this to fit. So I had to make it wide. But in this case, instead of just like cutting it in half, I'm actually just going to cut a chunk out of the middle because it's going to give me the same effect. It gives me this cool little like shape that I was going for, but I don't have to have this piece in the middle. So I know I'm making you all jealous right now because I'm just going to take out my little Stampin' Up! Guillotine that we had before. And what I like to do when I do this is I like to try to find a line and see if I can line it up on a line. So I cut it straight, and that way it doesn't work. This way I want to be about here. Oh, perfect. So try both ways because it doesn't always work one way. So in this case, this should cut off just underneath where my sentiment is. So I can line up my label on here so that I know I'm getting it straight. So there's one half of my tag. And then this one, I got to do the same thing. I just got to find where's a good line. Ooh, not a good line. Okay, so this is better to use the vertical lines to line it up. But if you can't, and the funny thing is I stamped the sentiment slightly crooked, but how much space is there? There's about this much space. I'm just above the one line. So if you can't, then you're just going to try to see that on either side where you can actually see that you're about close. And then using the horizontal line, if you line up the side of your tag, you got a better chance that your cut's going to be straight because it's like this is just a bigger space to line up against. This is usually a much smaller piece to line up against, but it's going to work. So with any luck, I get a straight one. Now here's the thing. It didn't really matter because they're on 2 sides of the card. Oh, good Lord, look at that. So total fluke. I'll pretend I did on purpose, but it's total fluke. These are the exact same size. I wasn't really worried though if they were the same size because like I said, they're going to flip on either side. I just wanted to get rid of the gap in the middle, which I will use to die cut something out of another time. So just because you look at a label and you think, oh, that doesn't work or that's too big, does not mean it won't because this is going to work just perfect. So then these ones, oh, I will also tell you on a side note that I believe I might have made history with this card. Because note cards aside, because I have purposely made like note cards without any layers on them, but this may be one of the only greeting cards I've ever made, if not the only greeting card I've ever made that does not have any dimensionals on it. I have tear and tape between these 2 layers, and I've just kind of curled up the daisies on it. But this entire card, there is no dimensionals. And if you know me, you know I like dimensionals. I would like to have like 7 layers of dimensionals on a card. There is no dimensionals on this card. Why? I don't know. Just as I was making it, I'm like, this card's got enough going on. I don't need to pop up layers. So I did actually just put these sentiments straight down. Now, because people are going to be like, this is where they're going to grab, is what I was thinking. Because you just instinctively just want to grab like right there. I was making sure, though, that the label had good adhesive on it. Now, it may seem like the thing to do is to line it up on the bottom of your DSP, because that's normally how we would do things. But in this case, you want to line it up on the bottom of the card, right? So again, I'm going to do this because it just makes it easier to see. Oh, I was going to try. Let's see. Oh, I forgot I put sticky on the back of that. You know what? This is going to work. So here's what I'm going to do, because I just make this stuff up as I go along. So these are the little pieces I was curious if they were going to work. So I just stuck them in the thing there. Now, because I put it at a jaunty angle, I am just going to trim the cardstock there because it's sticking out. And then they come with like the pieces that are attached, and then they have an extra bit that you can add in for like a little bit more volume and stuff. So I'm just going to pop that thing in there. And then I'm just going to put a little more seal. Funny enough, this is a card made by Shauna, and this trick of using my finger to get my seal started again, also something I learned from Shauna. Go Shauna. Okay. You can use which I probably should be using, if you had your silicone mat out like this, sometimes you pull too hard and it snaps back a little bit. You can get it started again. You just need some kind of resistance. Well, the skin on your hand is a bit of resistance. So because your hand is always there, it's easy just to pull on it. So that's what I do now. Okay, so these are not exactly the right color, but that's okay. So I'm lining this guy up on the bottom of my card, not the bottom of my DSP. And then I'm going to flip my card over. Actually, first I'm going to put some adhesive on this guy. So this time I'll use. So what you should be doing with this seal, what makes it work the best, is when you're done, you just kind of bend it forward, and it breaks. Because if you pull, like I said, if you pull, you just kind of snap it back a little. So I've got my stuff on. So what I'm going to do is I'm using my finger right now to see where it is on the front, so I can see where it's going to go on the back. So I'm just kind of getting it started where I can see it, and then I'm going to lay it flat, because if not, you'll see what will happen. It'll never be straight. And line it up on the edge of the card. And like I said, this is stamped slightly crooked. The label, perfectly straight. So that's how you get it the wraparound. Bonk, bonk. And that's kind of what I think why you want it there, because if not, you'd actually have a gap in between, right? So that's how we do it. My 17 other pieces of odds and ends that are left on my desk from the weekend. Yes, one of them is a bow. So where's my glue dots? It's funny as I go along and I think about it, how much these ladies that are the Silver Sisters, not all of them were on this weekend. One of them was not on this weekend, but has done, I think, all of the other ones I've seen, because they've been doing this for a few years now. So I have like a treasure trove of projects from the last couple of years. She was not on this weekend, but she sent a swap card to my friend Tamara. There was a really cool fancy fold, and Tamara showed us all how to make it last night on her live. So I've got that extra one too that I'm going to add to the bunch. And then Diane Hutchinson is one of the other ladies that's a sister, and she was not there this weekend, but she's the one who at a demonstrator event, she said, with your glue dots, just roll them like a booger. And so every single time, without fail, every single time I roll up a glue dot, I think of Diane. I'm trying to do this so that I like these big curly little feet things I got going, but they keep covering up my sentiments. So I'm just going to find the right place to pop them. So I just roll up a glue dot like a you-know-what. And then I just set my bow in it. And then the beauty of it is you can kind of schmutz it around a little bit, and then I can make it go where I want. And I can usually direct where the little hanging down parts go. So there's my little decor on it. And it actually looks pretty good considering these are two different color DSPs or cardstock. And then I cannot get enough of these because I like them so much. These are the in color dots. And I will tell you that these in colors, so this is boho blue is one of the in colors. Copper clay is one of the in colors. They will stick around for another year. So when the new annual catalog comes out in May, they will stay for another year. But generally, any of the ribbons, twine, embellishments, DSP that came out when they first released will retire, and sometimes they will come out with new ones. So if you want to keep using these in colors and you love these things, I'm on like the third package of them, I think. You're going to want to stock up on these. Plus the in colors that are going out, like that retire, the Parakeet Party, Sweet Sorbet, which I love. Starry Night, love that one too. Those ones are also going to be retiring here in a couple months, and people are going to start stocking up on these things. So if you want them, now is the time to get them. I should be good because I have this package plus two other ones, because I don't, lots of times I don't ever finish a roll of ribbon or a package of embellishments. But in this case, once I was on package number 3, I thought, ooh, I should probably get some more of those. I seem to like those ones. And I like things in threes. So I do tend to put them on 3 at a time, which might be why I go through them so fast. I'm gonna put that on there. So there we go. I did go a couple minutes over. My son is probably wondering where I am because we're supposed to have left by now. But I just wanted to show you how this card came together because it's such an awesome card. Just look at me trying to actually put my embellishments in the right spot in the container. Okay, so there we go. There's the step down version because I didn't prepare anything. It was just what was left on my desk. And then there's the original version of the wraparound card. Ta-da! And if you'd like to see it again, here's the she did it wrong, but it still turned out to be a cute card version of the same thing. Ta-da! So there we go. Thank you, everybody. I am going to end 10 minutes earlier. I was trying to aim for about 10 or 15 minutes or 10 minutes ago, but that's okay. Put that where my head's not in the way. I will attempt to move the camera or figure out how to zoom. I really don't want the camera in my face because, like I said, just having my computer this close to me is distracting me, but we'll see how I go. Okay, so watch for this in the blog. There will be instructions how to make it the correct way. And as the weeks go, or it might be 2 a week, I'm not sure. I will get to those other ones. Plus, I still have 5 more to make and show you. So hopefully I will have those 5 made before Friday. I ordered, I don't know if I said I'm doing a group order tonight. I have a couple of the ladies that I'm putting orders in for tonight. But I ordered when I could pre-order for like demonstrators to pre-order the new kit. Well, everybody could order the new kits, but the new online exclusives, I ordered, and my order should be here tomorrow. Nope, Thursday. I knew it was Thursday. I just got the wrong day of the week. So I'm really hoping on Friday I can show you some of these new products and the new kits because, the new kits are awesome. So I think I only ordered one of the 2 new kits, but the kit I want to show you is awesome, and it's coming. So we should have fun stuff for Friday. That was the point of that long ramble. Should have some fun stuff for Friday. Take care this week. It's starting to get a little snowy out there, but I think it's supposed to be warm, so it'll probably all be melted in no time. Thoughts go into the guys in Nova Scotia whose snow is not going to melt that quickly. Holy cow. The pictures I see from there, crazy times. So stay safe wherever you are. Have a fantastic week. And if I don't see you before then, I will for sure see you on Friday. Thanks, everyone.